This is a part 2 of a 2-part video, and it's just a proposition made as a basis for reasoning. Isn't that a definition of hypothesis? I don't know. But it's just an idea, and I have little or no evidence for what I'm about to say or suggest, so please watch this with an open-mindedness. Even though we cannot put emotions in a petri dish and observe them physically, I do believe that emotions has helped us to create bonds with each other in order to live such interconnected lives. Obviously, there is upside to living such interconnected life than living in colonies far away from each other. There's an advantage to humanity over any other species because we're able to transfer information from generation to generation and build up on that. These emotional bonds always don't have to be between two humans. Someone can have emotional bond over a concept or a dream or an idea. For instance, an astronaut can fall in love and have an emotional bond over the idea of traveling to the moon or traveling to Mars. These emotional bonds that we have in order to connect us doesn't always have to be an exchange kind of purpose. It could be an army of people working towards a unified emotional bond towards a concept or idea or a task. So what happens is, because we have this ability to be emotional and self-aware, everything has its bad side. We also go through sufferings, and sometimes we feel lost, especially when you're isolated and you forget what your purpose is or what you're here for, what you're doing, if it's meaningful. Just like how atoms bond with molecules to stabilize themselves, and end of the day, all of these atoms achieve equilibrium. In order to equalize the suffering that we have, we also have evolved. In my opinion, there's no proof to this, to have vision. We are visual creatures. We admire beauty in things. We create music. We create art. And that explains why we have this creativity side to us, right? Creativity can be applied for problem solving, but sometimes it doesn't make sense why we listen to music. We don't have to listen to music to survive, So perhaps all these kind of beautiful things that exist around us is there to alleviate the pain and suffering that we go through and make it all worth it. So that explains this complex emotional bonds. It's not just one type of bond, as you know. If we dig deep and build up on this theory, there could be just like another periodic table of 118, who knows how many different kinds of emotional bonds a human can have, right? But let's just keep it simple for now, because I like to stick with a 2-part video than a freaking 10-part video. Okay, alright, if this is the case, we have evolved to have consciousness because we have become this individual unit of a species, and we're trying to create bonds through emotions, and there's this different kinds of emotions and different kinds of way to stabilize ourselves. Why are there 2 genders? Why can't we just be genderless, like a molecule of water or something, Why are there male, female to almost every single species that we know on this planet Earth? Here's what I think why. Again, I have no evidence for this. It's all imagination and ideas. Please watch this with an open mind. Okay, like I concluded in the first part of my video, our main common enemy is randomness, right? In order to eliminate randomness and this chaos that we called life, and to create order, it makes sense to do selective breeding, meaning use the same tool in order to select your partner in a way that it automatically eliminates all the weaker members of humanity. And I don't mean this in any mean way. It's just a theory. We are wired to select a healthy, happy partner in order to have a healthy, happy baby. And babies, human babies, like any other species, unlike any other species on this planet Earth, requires love and attention from their parents throughout their life. In order to provide this love and attention, you need to have an extraordinary amount of strong emotional bond between a male and a female in order to raise this child and become a healthy one so he can go and reproduce. And I see this more as a refining process. You know, when you're baking, you refine your flour, and then you put it again, and you refine your flour one more time so that you get that nice fluffy cake. Now we know that we have these emotional bonds, we have the single individual unit, and we have split ourselves into male female in order to refine our reproduction and continue to make only more and more happy, healthy humans in order to advance the humanity, right? Are you with me so far? Now, in workplaces, there are different kinds of bond, right? So we bond with people based on the same field of work. Let's say all the physicists come together, exchange information, and build up on the advancement of the subject, which is the physics of this world, right? And which leads to a lot of innovation and inventions. So these emotional bonds seem to work. They seem to work in order to advance humanity. But still, we're not even close to solving this problem of randomness, this chaos, this monster that Jordan Peterson talks about. The suffering, the chaos, the randomness, the things that are out of our control. That is still a problem, and we're not even close to even looking at that problem right on our faces and say, how do I deal with this? In order to even think about approaching this problem of randomness, you need to have intelligent level to the point where you can manipulate the laws of reality. I'm pausing because I want you to imagine. You need to have the level of intelligence to manipulate the laws of reality to the point where you can predict the near future. If not the long future, you can predict what's going to happen. Meaning you can tell me with approximate precision how long I can live on this planet Earth. If not precise, at least close proximity of this is how long you're going to live, or this is how you're probably going to die. In order to even get close to that, could you imagine the amount of data, information, and probability, that the calculation that we have to do to arrive at that? It's just so overwhelming, but not impossible. I think you know where I'm going with this. Fast forward few decades from now, imagine in the school, there are kids and they're all hybrid. They're half machine and half human. And on the classroom or whatever virtual space where they're teaching children, they're trying to learn the calculation, like the speed of our frontal lobe, the speed of our neurons firing on the frontal lobe. And there's probably a unit to that. And there's probably a way to change the pace of someone's learning skills. And there's probably a way to calculate that and quantify the speed of someone learning an information and retaining it. And eventually, this is going to transfer into artificial intelligence. Why? Why should this passive consciousness make us move towards this direction? Because it almost obvious that it is self-destructive. But it's self-destructive to your active consciousness. But your passive consciousness existed billions and billions of years ago. It knows what it wants. And it's going to change its medium, which is you, to another medium in order to solve this problem of randomness and create order. Okay. Imagine a human, even if it's half human, half machine, being a pianist, a biologist, a physicist, an astronaut, and also is really, really good in playing soccer. In order to hone all these skills will take years of practice and work, and because humans are mortal, they die after a while. There's a finite way to live, and you cannot expand your knowledge beyond certain level. You have to transfer it to the next generation so they can build it up. But I want you to close your eyes and imagine a piece of string, an imaginary piece of string. And like the game of snake, you know, the old-timey game where the snake moves around the screen and it eats something and it gets bigger. The same concept, okay? Imagine a string that is moving around and absorbing all the data and knowledge every individual has in this planet Earth. Not just humans, any species with intelligence. It's hungry for knowledge, and it's absorbing all the data you have, your dog has, and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. And after a finite amount of time, it has touched every single species on this planet, and now it knows every single piece of information that is available on this planet Earth. And it becomes and knits itself into this big blanket and engulfs the planet. I know it's getting weirder, but just please stick with me. Engulfs this planet in order to take control, hoping that will minimize the randomness to zero. But it will never be zero. You know why? As long as there's energy that can neither be created or destroyed, and as long as there's these four fundamental forces, even if this whole net of highly intelligent fucking blanket knows exactly what is going to happen next move, it knows every single next move on this planet Earth, there will still be a little element of randomness outside the planet. The only way to achieve ultimate order is to eliminate everything that's in existence. Everything is wiped out on this space. No light, no sound, no air, no energy. Don't know how that's going to be possible, but nothing. It's just empty space with only one thing that exists, which is our passive consciousness. Consciousness is the only constant in every single matter that exists in this whole universe. That's going to remain, and that's probably the only thing that can be transferred as an information from eon to eon and from dimension to another dimension. Okay, why exist at all? Why are we evolving? Why are we here? What are we moving towards? If you say that even if this whole new being becomes one unit of intelligence, engulfs planet, is also going to be facing the threat of instability. Well, maybe this intelligent unit will try to create interplanet bond, and there will be bonds between planets, and then eventually a bond between that and galaxy, and they all will either stabilize themselves and become perfectly stabilized in a way that there is no way any randomness can occur, or the other option would be to become self-destructive and create order by destroying itself. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm posting this online, but here we are. How fun was that? Okay, to sum it all up, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave now. No more mind fucks. To sum it all up, you are conscious and self-aware because of your intelligence. Every other matter is in this planet or in space is conscious, but it's not as intelligent as you. So next time when you make a bad decision, feel free to blame it on the passive consciousness, because free will is just an illusion, right? Who knows? I could be right. And like I said, someone might make a movie out of this and I'll never get the recognition. I hope that doesn't happen. Just call me. Alright. I'll see you soon. Peace out. A-Town.